In 1909, Frank Phillips turned his vision into reality by building his magnificent home at 11th and Cherokee. 110 years later, this home shines brighter than ever, still reflecting the dreams of a determined businessman from Creston, Iowa. The home is the cornerstone of our community. It reminds us of our early beginnings when Oklahoma was evolving from the Wild West into a metropolitan community. Throughout the years, this home has served as our anchor, almost assuring us that everything will turn out just fine.
Welcome to the Queen of the Cherokee, the Frank Phillips Mansion. In 1900, Frank Phillips bought 10 acres south of town. In 1908, he came down and built his mansion, what we know today as the Queen of the Cherokee. So let's go inside and learn more about the Frank Phillips Mansion. Hey, Bob Fraser.
Keith and Christy, welcome to the Frank Phillips home.
How are you doing, sir?
Very, very good.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
I love being able to welcome you to our different homes.
Well, last time we were together, we were at Willow Rock.
Yeah.
We
That's
did
right.
us a tour of Willow Rock, and that was Frank's second home.
True.
Now his, what we call the Queen of the Cherokee, his mansion. So we just want to take a tour of this place.
Perfect.
Let's do it.
Perfect.
Let's do it.
Absolutely. Start here with a quick look at the music room, the original piano, and the terrific thing about the home and the furnishings is that 95 to 98% of what you see in here is the real thing. I mean, it dates back into the early 1900s of Frank and Jane and their acquisition of them. All the furniture in here is original. Same thing as you go into the dining room, go into the library, the sunroom.
Wow.
It's not replicas, it's the real deal.
Now they entertained a lot here.
They did.
Actually too, and obviously in Willow Rock, but I love that every room, every chandelier in this house is a Waterford crystal. I mean, they bought top of the line everything.
They did, absolutely. And the wood that you'll see in here is almost all of it's mahogany. And the reason it's mahogany is because Jane's father owned a mahogany farm in the Philippines. And so when they were building this home, they went to him.
This all came to Philip.
And got all the wood. So the banister as you're going up the stairs and throughout, all of this is mahogany wood.
Just gorgeous.
Now I do want to show this because I read this, Bob, and what has interested me, this is done by Honeywell, and this was their heater, or heat system, and it still works today.
Yep.
By steam. And that's from the 1930s, and that's just unbelievable to me that it still works. And it used to be where they can set it for 9 days.
Yes.
So that's fascinating to me.
Amazing technology when you think of it as 100 years old.
Oh, it is. And he had the money to buy that.
Right. Yep.
Now, what I do want to see the library because
Well, let's go take a look at it.
Jane loved to read books.
Well, we forget what a fascinating time that was.
There was no
Because
TV.
there's no TV, there's no internet, you're not on the computer, you're not on Facebook. I mean, you're reading,
Right.
or you're writing, or whatever. But this
Oh,
is a
my
terrific
gosh,
room.
beautiful.
And, the books that are in here are fabulous. We got a Tiffany lamp on that table.
Now, is there a special story about this lamp?
Well, there is some good history to it. It unfortunately got damaged back in the 50s after Frank and Jane had died and their granddaughter had moved in. It's been repaired, but it's a classic lamp, and the base alone is worth a great deal.
Wow.
So,
It looks like it would be very heavy.
yes, very heavy. Great collection of books, though. A terrific
Over 2,000
collection.
books I read.
Yes. Both corners, Frank built in, call it closets, but they were hidden closets. And
Like a
there's-
hidey-ho.
Yep, and there's two stories there. One is that kidnappings were becoming such commonplace, the Lindbergh kidnapping and things back in that time. And so he added those for the children in case they needed to hide there, they could do that. Others also said that if he was having business meetings in here and had to leave, he wanted to know what was still being discussed, and so he would have somebody in that room.
Wow.
That got, when they added the elevator, that space shrunk.
Okay.
So it used to be much bigger than that.
Sure. Fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Now, also, too, I read, and Christy might want to talk about this, but she loved to crochet.
Yes.
Correct?
Well, needlepoint.
Needlepoint.
Yes.
sorry.
Yes, and I know as I look
Is that
around and see,
one of
Most of these were her work.
well, like this
uh,
pillow and this in front of the fireplace, maybe, and this. I don't know what this is.
I think these pillows here she did, too, on the couch here.
Yeah, I would imagine she probably
But
did.
he wasn't a fan.
No, he was not a fan of that.
He said we can afford for someone
That's
to do
right.
that.
That's Jane's father, John Gibson, right there.
Okay, and then so he's kind of why Frank Phillips was not a barber. For
Exactly.
life.
Yeah.
Yes, because
he was one of Frank's customers.
Yes.
When Frank owned the barber shops in Creston, Iowa, and they became pretty good friends. And he just happened to have a pretty little brunette daughter by the name of
Yes.
Jane. And but once they got married, Mr. Gibson didn't mind his friend being a barber, but he didn't want his son-in-law to be a barber. So he got him into the banking business, and Frank was an instant success at that. So it was a good decision.
Yes, like he was great at, I mean, because then also was a barber for him, but then bought every barber shop, and then went on to banking.
Yeah, I mean, it almost sounds redundant, but he was a man of incredible vision.
Yes.
I mean, just incredible vision. And he married together, which very few people can do, a business sense plus that vision of what needed to be done. I would compare him, Walt Disney brought that same ability to do that. And not only see a need, but he would meet it and exceed it, and that would have been Frank Phillips. Now this was, if you want to take a look at the sunroom,
Yes, because they spent a lot of time here.
that was Jane's favorite room.
Now, they spent a lot of time in here.
They did. Jane did a lot. She would bring her friends in here. They would have tea. They'd have coffee. She spent a lot of time in here. I mean, it's such natural light that was pouring through here. It's beautiful. Frank had a lot of business meetings in here as well.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Now, was this original with the home when they first built it in 1909?
No, this would have been an add-on on the second.
The second one.
So what are we looking out to here? Turn around.
So if you look out this way, there is the garage,
Okay.
and then the greenhouse is back here.
Okay.
Terrific space, really is. High ceilings. I mean, look at the attention to detail and the crown
Just
molding.
gorgeous.
And everything that's in here is original to the home.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
I just love that. Now, let's go to the dining room because I love the dining room.
Let's take a look at the dining room, which is just fabulous.
Beautiful.
Yes.
And they love to entertain in this. And I think, if I read right, Frank sat here at the head table by the fireplace.
Yes. This was Frank's spot. Jane would typically be there. We can expand this. We have 2 more leaves that we can put in it. Right now it comfortably sits 8. We can easily get 12. If we squeeze a little bit, we can get more than that in here. But
And this is the original table that they have here.
original table. In
Wow.
fact, we at Christmas time we have a centerpiece decoration piece that was Jane's that she bought back in 23, and it's a beautiful piece. But yeah.
Because there was no house like this in Bartlesville.
Oh gosh,
when he built this.
No. Mm-mm. And it made quite a statement because Frank had made his money,
But more or less in the banking business before. I mean, he was in the banking.
and then in the oil business,
Right.
he struck it
Big time.
Big time. And when he made the decision that he was going to build his home here, that was huge for Bartlesville because back then so many people would make their fortune and then leave for the big city.
Yep.
They moved and like his brother Wade did very, very well in Tulsa, but then he moved to Los Angeles and lived there for the last 30 years of his life. So Frank set it down ground right here, and this was home. And in my mind, a little bit prejudiced, but in my mind, that set the course for Bartlesville.
Sure. What would Bartlesville look like without Frank Phillips?
So this was huge, and then as he bought this piece of ground, he handpicked who he sold lots to around here, and more big homes went up around him, and this was established. But think about the fact: 1909 is when they moved in here. 1907 was statehood.
Yes.
I mean, we were the wild, wild west 10 years before that. I mean, this was one rough town.
Because they arrived here in 1897, is that correct?
So, I mean, a lot of things happened in a 10-year period of time.
So Bob, when he built this home, he had all this mahogany shipped in, and it's just beautiful throughout the home.
Incredible, isn't it?
Oh, it's just
Just
unbelievable.
looks brand new.
It does. Now, when did the Frank Phillips Foundation take this home over?
We took it over about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. And we approached the state of Oklahoma because we knew funding was in such a situation that for the 2 years prior to that, the state had not been able to fund the home at all. And so our predecessors did a terrific job of managing this thing with zero budget.
Now, we're going to go here and see James for his room. Oh my gosh, this is beautiful.
It's quite a room, isn't it?
Oh my gosh.
Again, all of the original furnishings that are here. Her little Chase lounge was, after her death, she was actually laid out on this Chase.
This is it right here.
By the funeral people, yeah.
Wow, that is just beautiful. I hear this was one of her favorite pieces
Yes,
in the whole house.
It was. She would lay there and read. She'd write. That was her favorite piece of furniture.
Well, and I can't now, look at a peacock feather without thinking why she was collecting those and
Yes.
not telling anybody.
Yes.
Keeping it her little secret, but that was fascinating to me, what she ended up doing with those as
And,
well.
and she would serve breakfast every day in bed.
Yes.
Now, they had one butler here, right, that lived in the home?
Well, she had hers.
Okay.
And Frank had one for him, and then they had a staff of another, probably 6 or 7 that had various functions, but they would be working directly for Frank and directly for Jane. Then you had the staff that was cooking meals. You had the staff for landscaping, cleaning, that kind of thing.
This is
Wow.
the way to have a bathroom.
Look, it's got mirrors. Look,
Gold fixtures throughout.
is it really?
Why not?
Why not?
And you can see.
Yeah. And her scales
And her scales.
in front of her beautiful picture window as she looks over Cherokee and
Yeah, it's like waving at everybody when people would drive by.
Exactly.
And I'm sure people would all, and I heard they sit on the front porch a lot and just would wave at people.
Oh yeah.
And he was part of he was Uncle Frank.
Yeah, exactly. And kids in the neighborhood that would come by, and visit with him, talk to him, that kind of thing all the time.
Wow.
Now, as I've told you all before, if you want to know who Frank Phillips was, go to the lodge at Willow Rock.
Yes.
If you want to know who Jane Phillips was, come to the Frank Phillips home. And so he took his bedroom, and in my opinion, he did the very best he could to kind of turn it into a Willow Rock sense.
Yes.
I mean, he's got the animals on the
Right.
floor,
Yep.
the drawing on the wall, but he was most comfortable out there at the ranch.
And he was not a hunter.
No, he was not.
These were all animals that either passed away on Willow Rock or...
Given to him or
Given to
whatever.
him.
Now this is fascinating. We think Jane's bathroom's unique.
Wow. Okay. I need this in my bathroom. I need the rug,
So he's got the toilet,
Yes.
and he's got devices in case things are giving him trouble. Humidor, ashtray for his cigars as he's smoking.
Okay.
Had a haircut and a shave every morning before he went to the office. His refrigerator over here. Significant shower. And you all probably remember this from his bedroom at the lodge.
At the lodge.
He would sit in there, the doors closed over his head,
Oh,
shut those, turn these on,
It's a sweat box.
and it's a sweat box.
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
Huh.
So it was
And it
just an
still
early
works.
day sauna.
It still
Yeah.
works.
Yeah, isn't that something?
That is amazing. Now I heard he would get local barbers to come and give him a haircut every morning at 6. But also too, when he didn't have his haircut, he would still pay him.
I've never heard that story, but I love it.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's great. All right, let's take a look at the girls' bedroom. It's
Oh wow, look at the size. It's bigger than Jane and
it
Frank's.
truly is.
yes.
I don't want you to think that the girls were spoiled, though.
No, of course not.
But the wonderful stuffed animals. And you and I were talking, Christy, earlier about Frank and Jane's granddaughter, Mary Horry.
Yes.
So many of these things were given to us by Mary.
Oh, they were.
She had them. They were her mother's. She knew that the state of Oklahoma was financially having issues, so she really didn't want to give them to the home at that time. But once we took it over, that dress was her mother's, and that painting is of her mother in that dress.
Gorgeous.
So, I mean, Mary was able to pull together a lot of pieces. We have photographs of her mom wearing that jumper, the yellow outfit.
And the girls were given a doll every year for
Yes.
their birthday.
Yes.
And a lot of these are the original clothes that the dolls had on.
Exactly. And then the books that the girls had, and then little keepsakes are in that cabinet.
That is just amazing that they're all
Isn't it?
safe and
Yeah.
sound.
No
like
kidding.
they were.
It's the absolute, in my opinion, it's the absolute cornerstone of this community.
It is.
And that's why we were so happy that we were the Frank Phillips Foundation could take it over. Because to us, we want to be able to connect it from here to the Price Tower to downtown,
Yes.
as it should be.
So now we're on the 3rd floor. This is,
So the story about the 3rd floor is really interesting, because this was basically their son John's.
okay.
His bedroom was back there, through there, small bedroom with a bath. This was his play area.
Wow.
And then when he left for school, was about the time they did their final renovation. That's also about the time when they adopted or took in the 2 foster daughters. And this addition was done at that time. And so this was Henry's bedroom, and that was Henry worked for Jane. They had an incredible relationship with their staff, and the whole family had such a love and respect for them, because even after Jane and Frank died, their granddaughter Betsy moved here with husband and kids. They allowed Henry to stay here
Really?
even after the death, so he's lived here for the rest of his life.
Well, he was
And,
probably like family to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and I also heard he died as a multimillionaire.
Yep. Yeah, he, among others, they say, listened real well.
Yes. We want to thank you guys so much for joining us today here at the Frank Phillips Mansion.
And don't forget, after seeing all that today, call up here, get your reservation so you can come and take the tour yourself.
Yes, we appreciate you guys. We love this home. It's the Queen of the Cherokee. We thank you guys for joining us. Have a great day. God bless.